So this is an 84-year-old retired physician. His wife reports decreased short-term memory, forgets information she's told him that day. He seems more withdrawn, really can't keep track of the bills, and his mini-mental is 29. So does he have Alzheimer's, and what stage? So why do you say no?
He could have a depression as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just having some memory problems, being withdrawn.
Mm-hmm. So what would you do to sort it out?
I'd ask more questions, do a more thorough interview, so do more testing for dementia in
Right.
terms of memory and frontal lobe function, and then also do some psychiatric questions as well to see if he might actually have an underlying depression cause.
Right, so certainly this could be consistent with a mild dementia because as we talked about, he's an educated man, so 29 out of 30 doesn't rule out dementia. So again, as you said, you'd want to do some more of the testing that we talked about, the clock drawing, the VCRS, maybe the MOCA, see if there are these problems, and then look, is that being withdrawn more of a feature of the apathy of dementia, or is it in keeping with depression? And that's often a difficult thing to sort out. And how can you tell the apathy of dementia from depression? Like being withdrawn because you're depressed, or being withdrawn because you just don't have that frontal lobe function to think of things to do and initiate you to do things.
Well, like if someone presented you with something to do, or if someone engaged you in an activity, like would they still find interest within it, as opposed to just being totally withdrawn from everything, even if people were trying to encourage you? Sort of
Yeah, that's right. So that's not perfect, but that's often the thing I use. If your grandchildren come over, does your husband seem interested in seeing them? If you say, let's go for a drive, does he seem interested? Because classically, that's the thing with dementia. People just sit there, staring at the wall or staring at the TV, but if someone comes and engages in activity, they're like, let's go. Whereas a depressed person, typically would say, no, I don't want to bother, or even when the situation's created, don't enjoy it. So, again, it's often a difficult thing, and it's not simple, but that's a good helpful thing. An 82-year-old patient of mine brought to the ER after he called the police complaining teenagers had been in his living room, and the police had been there a few times, and finally they sent him to the emergency room. He said he could see these teenagers, but they didn't speak to him, and of course the police didn't see any teenagers. And his mini-mental in the emerge was 25, 1 out of 3 recall, lost some points for world, and quite a grossly impaired pentagon. Is this Alzheimer's, and what stage? So it could be delirium, right? Again, you'd want to know how long this has been going on, but that's possible that he's delirious. People said Lewy body. Any other votes?
Any other psychosis? I mean, we don't know. Maybe he has.
So, right, so something like schizophrenia or a psychosis, and again, that's less likely with visual, typically auditory, but certainly something to think of. Is this, 25 not representative of cognitive decline for him, or some mild frontal lobe problems, as you can see with a psychiatric illness like a psychosis, drugs, delirium, Lewy body. Yeah. So those are all good thoughts, but again, the key thing is this is atypical for Alzheimer's, and he ended up having Lewy body dementia.